Mr. Chair, I am Maureen Maloney, a delegate from Milford. I proudly place the name of James R. McMahon III in nomination before this convention for the office of Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It was about 10 years ago, after my son was killed, that I became politically active, and my eyes were opened to the extreme left-wing political agenda of the Democratic Party. A Democratic agenda that prioritizes and protects illegal aliens over citizens and legal immigrants. An agenda that villainizes and defunds our police. An agenda that labels parents who speak up at school committee meetings as domestic terrorists. An agenda that fires first responders and healthcare workers who were touted as heroes during the height of the pandemic. The citizens of Massachusetts deserve much better. As Attorney General, Jay McMahon will make the safety of Massachusetts citizens his top priority. Jay is dedicated to defending your First Amendment right, your Second Amendment right, and all your constitutional rights. He will combat the opioid epidemic by relentlessly prosecuting drug traffickers and bolstering rehabilitative services. As Attorney General, Jay will back the blue and work to hire more police officers. He will stand up for first responders who have been fired because of the vaccine mandates. And he will also stand with parents who demand school curriculum transparency and oppose the teaching of critical race theory. Yes! The citizens of Massachusetts deserve an Attorney General who will apply the laws fairly and justly, rather than along party lines. And that is why I have nominated Jay McMahon for the office of Attorney General.
Under the rules, I must ask for a second. The chair now recognizes Daniel Alley, a delegate from Westfield, for the purpose of seconding the nomination.
Welcome to Western Mass. My name is Dan Allen. I'm a city councilor and the Republican city chairman from Westfield. Thank you to all the volunteers who collected signatures for our candidates. One reason we collected 20,000 signatures for Jay McMahon was people's reaction to the radical position of the Democrat candidates, such as defunding the police and giving driver's license to illegal aliens. Voters have had enough of the overreach of state government, lockdowns, forced vaccinations, and state troopers, correctional officers, and nurses losing their jobs. People respect Jay McMahon for running against Maura Healey 4 years ago. While volunteers collected signatures in the Berkshire, Franklin, and Hampden and Hampshire counties, the mention of Maura Healey's name caused a visceral reaction. People could not sign fast enough. If the prospect of Maura Healey becoming our governor, or Democrats getting... Okay, I like it. Thank you. Yeah, I get the same reaction out there. Or the Democrats getting elected does not motivate you to do all you can to elect Republicans, put up a yard sign or a bumper sticker on your car, or go to their website and donate what you can. Check your pulse, you might be dead. In Western Mass, we are familiar with politicians in Boston ignoring us. But the events of the last 2 years, during the pandemic, and actions by our politicians affected everyone in Massachusetts. From eliminating life-saving medical care for newborn babies, the unconstitutional shutdown that hurt small businesses and our economy, the lost jobs, closed churches, and disrupted our children's education and development. The Attorney General is the top law enforcement official. Jay McMahon is an attorney, not a politician. Jay believes in justice and will uphold the law, cooperate with federal law enforcement, and not waste millions of dollars losing dozens of frivolous lawsuits suing the president. We need an Attorney General who will protect our citizens, small businesses, and parents of school-aged children, and has an effective plan to tackle the opioid crisis and not waste millions of dollars covering up a drug lab scandal. I know Jay McMahon is a person of integrity, has faith in God, compassion for the people of Massachusetts, and the conviction to fight for us and protect our civil liberties and God-given rights. Mr. Chairman, I am Dan Alley, a delegate from Westfield. It is my honor and privilege to second the name of James R. McMahon III for the office of Attorney General for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
The chair declares that the name of James R. McMahon III is before this convention. As there are no other nominations, we may endorse by acclamation. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. James R. McMahon is your endorsed candidate for Attorney General. It gives me great pleasure to present to you the next Attorney General of our Commonwealth, James R. McMahon III.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here with you. I'm Jay McMahon, and I am going to be your next Attorney General. I want to thank everyone that's worked for the campaign up to this point, getting our signatures. We needed 10,000 to get on the ballot here in Massachusetts, and my staff last week delivered 20,000 certified signatures. The Office of the Secretary of the Commonwealth made a comment about that. If you know, he actually polled his own party. You better start doing something and waking up, because the Republicans turned in far more than was necessary, and it's only the tip of the iceberg. It's not an iceberg, it's a tsunami, it's a red wave, and it's coming. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a Christian. I'm obviously a Republican, and I'm a constitutional conservative. Now, by constitutional conservative, I mean I believe in and hold sacred the documents that founded this country, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Those are documents that were written and brought in blood by the patriots and our forefathers, and they're handed down to us, and we're going to keep them. Some of the speakers said here a few moments ago, or a little while ago, talking and quoting about from the Declaration of Independence, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that we have these inalienable rights, the right to life, freedom, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. We have those rights. They've been handed down for generations, and we are not going to turn it over to a woke mob. Now, some of you know a little bit about my background. Back in the 70s, I spent some time in law enforcement. I was a young fellow back then. Absolutely loved it. And it's a good career, it's an honorable career, and I want to say this to all present and former police officers, firefighters, and EMS, all first responders, I salute all of you. I salute for your service to your communities. You keep and hold the thin blue line. Now I want to talk a little bit about law enforcement here in Massachusetts. We've seen some pretty ugly periods of time over the last couple of years, notwithstanding the pandemic. But Massachusetts police officers, state troopers, municipal, they held the line for us, because when we saw cities descending in absolute anarchy, and I'm talking about Portland, Oregon, I'm talking about Seattle, Washington, I'm talking about Minneapolis, and I'm talking about Kenosha, when they were being torn down and ripped down and burnt down, Massachusetts law and order held the line here in Massachusetts, in Boston, and the rest of the cities of the Commonwealth. Give them a hand. So I ask you, why is it that people on Beacon Hill and the woke mob, why is it that they want to punish police officers in Massachusetts? It makes no sense. But I have to tell you, now, as you know, I don't have a Republican opponent, so I don't have a primary, which means I'm your candidate as of now, and I thank you for that. But there are 3 woke candidates on the other side fighting in a circular firing squad to prove which one of them are the most left progressive. And they are woke. Okay, so one of them, let's just talk about it, because you got to know the lay of the land. So let's just talk about it. We have a candidate over there. I don't want to mention their names. I just want to say this, though. Andrea Campbell is... She says the most burning issue on the hearts and soul of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the citizens, the most burning issue is defunding the police. Try that one on for size. Let's talk about that for a second. What does that look like? Defunding the police. Does it mean that we cut their budget? Does it mean that we cut the overtime? Does it mean that we take away resources for them to investigate crimes to keep us safe? Does it mean that maybe we just don't give them money and just let them languish? I mean, they don't think about these things. They don't think about their programs. They just decide somehow that's a good idea. So let me get this straight. Defunding the police. You make a 911 call, and this is what you get. You are the 5th caller. But your call is important to us. Please stay on the line, and the next available operator will help you while you're screaming for help. See, these people, they are woke to insanity. All right, so the next one up. There's another one who is she says and claims to be a civil rights lawyer. Civil rights lawyer. And she's running and she says the burning issue on the hearts of Americans in Massachusetts and the discussion around the table, the dinner table, is we need to abolish the Second Amendment. I'm telling you, that's where they're at. Now, let's see, you're a civil rights lawyer, you want to become the Attorney General, the first thing you're going to do is take a civil right away from all our citizens? It doesn't make sense, but again, they don't make sense. The third guy who's running over there, he says he's more progressive than the other two. I'll tell you, if he says it, I believe him. So that tells you what we're doing. Now that tells you who we're up against. So when I think of that, and I'm presenting this to the citizens of Massachusetts, there's one other factor you have to take into consideration. We currently have a U.S. attorney whose name is Rachel Rollins. Oh, you've heard of her. Rachel Rollins began her career, at least in politics, as the Suffolk County District Attorney. Her claim to fame was, elect me and I won't do the job. That's what she said, in essence. In other words, there was all kinds of crime that she will not prosecute. So now she's no longer the District Attorney for Suffolk County. She is now the U.S. Attorney. Do you think her views on law enforcement have changed? No. So you need me, and by the way, how'd she get there? Oh, I remember now. Thank you, Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. With Rachel Rollins being the U.S. Attorney, and with these other three on the other side who are running, these woke progressives, that should be all the reasons you need to elect me overwhelming as the next Attorney General. Now, I could talk about a lot of policy issues that we're going to do, but time won't permit me for it. But one of the things I do want to say is that, as you know, I'm running to replace Maura Healey. You will notice the change on day one. You will. You will notice that I start standing with individual citizens when it comes to civil rights issues. You're going to see I stand on the side of the Constitution because you own it, and I'm going to be there with you because I own it with you. In 2020, after the unfortunate death of George Floyd, certain cities in America were set ablaze. Now, I saw that, I was watching it on TV. And then we had some of these out-of-state, George Soros-funded Antifa thugs come into Massachusetts. And I'm watching on TV as they're assembling in Boston, in other areas of the Commonwealth as well. And I see them throwing bricks and bottles at our police officers who are trying to maintain order and prevent anarchy, even though businesses were being looted and burnt to the ground. Thank you. We were enraged when we saw that. So, now where was Maura Healey in all this? Well, of course she was absent. She stays away from controversy, and she stayed away from this. So it got to the point where the mainstream media had to call her out. And they said to her, what are you going to do about this? And she said, well, you heard this before, I think, a little while ago by the chairman. But she said, Yes, I know American cities are burning, but that's how forests grow. Now, I don't know, I'll tell you what, that's not how businesses grow. That's not how you keep commerce going, especially in a pandemic and the economy. This is a strange response. That's how forests grow. Are we talking about climate change? Which, by the way, not that I'm running for governor, but it is Maura Healey, and you need to know who she is and what she's done to this office to know why it's so important to get a Republican in there after 50 years. She had no plan for these Antifa thugs. Well, I have a plan, and here's the plan. They want to come to Massachusetts like they did in 2020, and I'm the Attorney General? Come on, you can spend some time here, like 3 to 5. Has anybody noticed that the opiate crisis hasn't ended? I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I got some other things to say. Government has usurped the Constitution, and we have seen that. There are vax mandates still in operation. By the way, has anybody told Beacon Hill the pandemic's over? I mean, they're always the last one to find out anything. So, I'm like you, I watch the local news, I read the papers, and we've got state troopers, local police officers, firefighters, nurses, still getting fired under a vax mandate that is completely illegal and unconstitutional, and I'm going to do something about it. Of law, and I know a little bit about the Constitution since I work with it every day, and there is nothing in the Constitution that permits the government to force you to take an experimental concoction into your body. There's nothing in the Constitution that compels you to comply with an illegal vax mandate. And I'm going to stand with everyone who's refused to obey. There comes a time when evil starts permeating our society, and we need to stand up and stand up strong against it, and I will be that voice for you in the Attorney General's office. Okay, so Maura Healey, what has she done as Attorney General in the last 8 years? Zero. She sued Trump and she lost. She's 0 for 100. I'll tell you what, since she works for you, can I say this? If she was your lawyer and you had a question to ask her, and you asked her what her record is, and she goes, well, it's 0 and 100, but I'm looking for that first win. You're not going to pay much money for that. She might be a defender, but you're not going to hire her. All right. So what are some of the problems? Maura Healey goes like this. She has done literally nothing to help you as an individual. What she is an opportunist. She's a terrible Attorney General. She'd make an even worse governor. 2016, she went down to Philadelphia. She went down there so that she could attend the coronation of Hillary Clinton as the next nominee for president. She went down there because she wanted to be the U.S. Attorney General under Hillary. Thank God that didn't work out. Maura Healey has no sense of justice because she knew that. In fact, Maura Healey absolutely knew of the fiasco that occurred in Benghazi when Hillary Clinton was satisfied with a stand-down order when they wouldn't rescue that handful of Americans, leaving them to die. She knew that. Maura Healey knew that. Maura Healey knew that Hillary tried to obstruct justice by scrubbing her private server when the government subpoenaed the information off of it. Maura Healey also knew that Hillary took a hammer to her cell phones and destroying evidence that was subpoenaed. Now, if Maura Healey had a defendant who was doing that, she would certainly have filed charges and contempt charges. So Maura Healey has no sense of justice. And she knew this all along. Maura Healey knew that Hillary Clinton also destroyed the lives of women who were victims of her husband's sexual misconduct. She knew that. So because she knew this all along, because Maura Healey knew all about Hillary Clinton but still supported her, Maura Healey does not deserve to be governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Let me end it with this. Now more than ever, America, and indeed the Commonwealth, requires a strong, authentic, Republican, conservative voices in government who will stand up and defend the Constitution, all the rights we hold dearly, and I will be that voice here in Massachusetts. So let me leave you with this. The office of Attorney General is a serious office. And I am seriously pursuing this office. I am asking you for your support. And when we win in November, I promise and assure you this: your public safety, all of your civil rights, and your guns are safe with me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Anthony, Rayla, and Dave, for kicking off the energy